Good Morning San Diego. There's a program using improv to help students on the autism spectrum. I know you're just shaking your head right now wondering, how could they possibly do this? Well, I'm going to ask this question. There's a new round of classes that are getting underway tomorrow. Here with more about the program and how your student can get involved is Gary Kramer from the National Comedy Theater and the program's director, Richie Ploesch. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right, so who's going to answer the question, how do you do this?
Let's start with Richie.
All right, Richie.
It's actually a really, it's a lot easier than it sounds. I mean, we take a lot of, we pull a lot from a lot of different places in terms of mental health training and my background in applied behavior analysis, and we just apply that to improv. And a lot of the skills that it takes to be a good improviser are skills that our students are working on already in terms of social skills and social interaction, listening and paying attention to those with you on stage. It's the same as what you do with a friend.
You know, having had some personal experience in my family with autism, the thing that's so difficult for me to comprehend is the fact that they seem to focus on one thing on the spectrum. So how do you gear that?
Well, we're always constantly trying to stretch that, and that's one of the things that we're really working on, is getting our students to think about something else that their peers may be wanting to bring up. So we're constantly saying, if Gary wants to talk about a topic, I need to be able to reciprocate that, and I need to go with where he wants to go. And that's one of the things about improv is you make up on stage whatever you want to talk about, and you have to be able to just kind of go with that. And a lot of our students are working on that, and it's really tough for them.
So, Gary, from an entertainment standpoint, this expect the unexpected could be fun.
Completely. They are the funniest kids you've ever seen. We did a benefit with them last month, and they're hysterical. We're stealing their material to use at the National Comedy Theater in the professional company right now.
There you go.
But one of the cool things about kids on the spectrum is that there's no filter, and that's something that we try to teach to our adults in our neurotypical classes for anyone, is to not filter yourself, not edit yourself. That's not a problem with the teens on the spectrum, and they say what they're feeling, and that is something that we teach in our adult improv classes, and that's how we came up with this program. We realized that a lot of the skills that we teach to adults and to teens work for people on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum as well.
But improvisation is really, you have to kind of play off your audience and understand that that's going to be a dynamic.
Right.
How do they handle that?
Well, it's an interesting thing. One of the issues with someone on the autism spectrum is not having a really good comprehension of how other people are feeling and reading their emotions. And so that is a major part of what we work with them on. That's something that Richie has our
How to handle a heckler, for example.
Very few people heckle.
I'm sure they're not going to heckle them.
Yeah, and that's one of the key components, is being able to read someone else's emotion and what they're feeling and thinking, as well as presenting yourself. How do you present? How are other people reading you? And those skills are skills that we teach to everyone. They happen to line up very specifically with people on the autism spectrum.
I would think that it's just, I mean, Richie, this just must open up their minds.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's sort of the point. You know, we really want them to be able to go into a situation and pay attention to how the people they're talking to are feeling, but then also afterwards be able to say, man, I should have said something differently, or I should have brought this up in a different way, or I said this and I was too loud, or, you know, there's a lot of power in that debrief. And I think that that's one of the things we want to gift them, is at the end of social interactions, you know, a lot of times they're not having success with their friends at school or you know, peers in the community. So we want them to be able to say, man, I had this interaction, I didn't join that conversation quite the right way, or I was too loud, or the thing I brought up wasn't quite on topic. So if they can think about that, then they're constantly going to be getting better at those
problem solving, as a process.
Absolutely.
It's really, really interesting. So so they're entering these classes. I mean, there's got to be a lot of trepidation, especially from a parent going, am I going to drop my child in here, or am I, as an adult who also may have on the spectrum, is also some trepidation. How do you kind of confront that?
Well, a lot of the parents stick around for the classes. Each class, the class is weekly. It runs 90 minutes. It's on Wednesdays. We're adding a Tuesday class starting in February. And most of the parents watch the whole class, so they don't drop off the kids and split. They stick around. And the classes are so entertaining. It's not like watching someone taking a math class. The classes, since it's which might be fun too. If you watch me in a math class, there's a lot of comedy to that. But the kids are they're so genuinely funny, and it's a theatrical class. So they're on stage, running through scene work and different character work and things like that. So it's a performance every single week, and it's always different since it's improvised. So it's built like that. So the parents stick around because it's the most entertaining 90 minutes of the week, pretty much.
I know that Joey Travolta has had success with some kids who have all kinds of learning disabilities, and making them really come into their own. They find like this new personality, and I'm sure this happens as well.
Yeah, we've seen some of our students, we've had, they've taken every class that we've offered. So they've been with us for over for a year. And so to see who they were, you know, in August of last year compared to where they are now, I'm sorry, August of 2017 to where they are now, I've seen some of them grow and take on totally different characteristics and traits, and they're more open, and they have less stress, and they have less anxiety in new situations.
Wow.
It's been really great to see, and that's one of the reasons we're partnering with San Diego State to do a research study, because we want to be able to show that what we're doing is more than just a fun improv class, which it is, absolutely, but it's also that we're giving our students a new way of thinking and really alleviating some of their stress and anxiety.
Something very unclinical, even though it is clinical. What you're doing is really interesting science.
And it kind of mirrors what happens in our other classes. We teach classes to teens, to adults, to senior citizens, not on the autism spectrum, and a lot of the same key points line up back and forth between the two. Stress, anxiety, we teach lawyers, we teach doctors, we teach teachers how to improvise and how to read other people and how to think quickly on their feet. And so all those skills sort of line up. This class is almost the same as every other class we do. We focus a little more on social skills with the autism program, but it's very, very similar skills line up across all walks of life.
Really, really interesting. So what does it cost?
For the autism class, it's $199 for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Every 6 weeks, and we do have some partial scholarships available as well for that. So it's pretty much inexpensive. We try to, and it's great. Yeah, no one talks about the money.
We weren't talking about it until I brought it up.
Right,
Thank you very
why
much.
would you bring that up? It's a nonprofit. It's called Unscripted Learning, is the name of the program. And yeah, we try to keep it affordable to everyone. We don't ever want to turn someone away from this program because they can't afford it.
All right, it's improvisational comedy training for students on the autism spectrum. It's called what officially?
Unscripted Learning.
Unscripted Learning.
That's the name of the organization.
Guys, thanks so much for being here. Continued success. This sounds like a great program.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.